Oh god, I should know that. I don't. Panic. Next shelf. What is up, Twitchlets? My name is Mr. Twitchy. I know this feels weird. I've been gone for a long time. Just gonna keep moving through this so that way I can get to the manga collection video. The reason why you clicked on this. Alright, so first off, I'll address my hiatus. I have been gone for quite some time, over a year now, I think, give or take. And mostly it was just due to health concerns, whether that be mental or physical. I'll just leave it at that. But I was going through a rough time, especially after Attack on Titan ended the way that it did, and My Hero had a bit of a spat. So those being two of my favorite series at the time, I just wasn't into manga, anime, just pretty much any of my hobbies. So that's why I went radio silent for the most part. Secondly, for this manga collection, I've not read most of it. So this will be a little bit different than most of the manga collection videos that you'll see on YouTube. Well, that's because one of my goals or New Year's resolutions for 2022 is actually to read more manga. I only read 30 volumes physically last year, and already in January, this is February 8th as of recording, I read 10 volumes in January. So much better pace than I did previously, and I got lots of good stuff to read. I'm trying to save up for a house at the end of the year, so I'm also going to be doing less spending and more reading, so it's a win-win. In addition to that, I do keep most of my manga downstairs. That way it's out of the sunlight so it doesn't get damaged. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to edit this in a way and do a little bit of a voiceover. Another reason why I want to do the voiceover route as opposed to it being live with my phone is because this will be the first time I'm recording with my phone, and I also have financial goals in terms of buying manga. So specifically, I do not want to spend more than 60% of retail price for my collection. Thankfully, I am right at that mark. I'm like 59.66 or something. I'll go ahead and put up the number here. And that will include my art books. I do have some comic books, and then also all of the light novels and manga that I own. So with that being said, I'll do some editing magic and we'll be right back.
All right, so first off, here is an overall look at the two shelves that I keep upstairs. I'll go shelf by shelf, but mainly upstairs I keep Funko Pops just because they don't get sun damaged as much as manga nearly does. But I also do include my TBR pile in this specific shelf on the left. So let's go ahead and take a look at that first shelf.
All right, so we'll go with the front row because I do have them double stacked. So moving from left to right, I have Ajin's volume 1, 2, 5, 6, 9, 10, 13 through 16. And then I do have one package coming today from Right Stuff Anime. That should be volume 17 in there. In addition to that, in the front row, I have Monster Musume, volumes 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, and then I Heart Monster Girls Monster Musume Volume 1. Now I have read volumes 1 through 6 of Ajin, and then I have read all of Monster Musume online, but I have not read the rest of Ajin. I want to read that physically just because those small volumes are palpable, to say the least. And then on the right there for the stack, that's my TBR pile. I have My Dress Up Darling Volume 4. Fantastic series. The anime is popping off right now. I love the characters, Gojo. Oh, Marin's great too. Monster Musume, the light novel. I have not read that. Mobile Suit Gundam, The Origin, Volume 1. I'm about halfway through it, 60%. I'm loving it so far. The action is a little bit hard to comprehend at the moment, so it's just taking some getting used to. Next up, I have one of my comic books, Crisis on Multiple Earths, Volume 2. So that will be the Crisis on Infinite Earths box set, which I'll show you guys in a moment. But I also have High School of the Dead Color Omnibus 2. I was able to read the first one. Below that, I have Watchmen, the colorized edition. I think it's called the Deluxe Edition. Really good, about a third of the way through that. And then finally on the bottom, I have the Color Walk Compendium 2 for One Piece. I did read the first one. I enjoyed it. The artwork is great, and also seeing the interview from Oda is also a cool touch. All right, so let me move the front row so you can see what's behind it. Okay, so I have I Am a Hero Omnibus 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. 5 should also be coming in that package today, and then 9 through 11 should be coming whenever Right Stuff decides to send it. One quick note about these Omnibus. They are a little bit smaller than I anticipated. Let me go ahead and move one of these out for you. Now, I have bigger hands, but this is actually about the same size as an Ajin volume, so just a little bit taller. Next up, I have Ace's light novel from One Piece, volumes 1 and 2. I'm only a chapter into the light novel for the first one. I typically read those whenever I go to like a doctor's appointment or like a chiropractor appointment, things like that. So I don't read it too frequently, unfortunately, but I am enjoying it thus far. All right, let's move on to the next shelf. Okay, so first up on the left-hand side, I have, slightly cut off, Tales of Wedding Rings, volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I do have volume 5 up above the previous shelf that I just showed you guys, but it is damaged, so it's one of the volumes that I'm going to go ahead and return. You'll notice a pattern that I kind of sort my manga, well, not in any particular manner, but really stuff I've read, stuff that I'm going to read soon, or stuff that I'm waiting on another volume to ship in order to read it next. And then on the right-hand side there, you see the box set that I got for Ajin for the special volume 1, since volume 1 has not shipped out from Right Stuff. Oh, and one more thing I did want to mention is that all of my volumes that I have for Ajin and Monster Musume that are not on the shelf are currently on back order as well. All right, let's get to the second row of the shelf. Moving from left to right, we have World's End Harem, Volume 1. The Great Jahi Will Not Be Defeated, Volume 1. Land of the Lustrous, 1 through 10, with a damaged copy of Volume 11 up above. And then finally, the box set for the Quintessential Quintuplets. Now, a pretty cool story about this Quintessential Quintuplets, although it was aggravating in the moment, is the fact that I actually got this for free. So it arrived about a week late from Amazon. I thought it had been lost in the mail, so I went ahead and asked for a refund since I didn't want to deal with waiting another God knows how many months, since it was a 7-month-long process to get this box set. I didn't want to wait that long for a second box set, so I just asked for a refund, and then it showed up a couple days later, which is pretty cool. All right, so down onto the final shelf of the manga that I have upstairs, and then we'll go to the other 3 shelves downstairs. All right, so the front row of this bottom shelf, I have Goodnight Pun Pun, volumes 1 through 7 complete. As you can tell from the saran wrap, I have not started any of these, despite the fact that volume 3 is not in saran wrap. That's simply because it was just the way it was shipped to me. I am looking forward to starting this series, even though it will be depressing, so once I'm in a better mental state, I am looking forward to reading it. On the right here, I have the box set 2 of Naruto, so volumes 28 through 48. There is a look at all of the volumes. All right, so let me move this front shelf and we can get to the back shelf. Okay, so first off, I have Gigant volumes 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have 1 and 6 on back order. I also have hidden away here Attack on Titan Lost Girls volume 1 and 2. I have 4 new Junji Ito acquisitions. I have Venus in the Blind Spot, Censor, Shiver, and Love Sickness. And then finally, I do have box set 1 of Bleach, still in the saran wrap. I have not had a chance to open this just yet, so I will include a picture if there is a missing volume, but otherwise, just assume that all of them are in there for the time being. And then finally here, we have the complete box set of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think it's 14 or 12 volumes. I can't remember, but it is too heavy to pick up, so I'm not going to do that at the moment. All right, so excuse the furnace, but on the left we have mostly manga, a middle shelf of Funko Pops. On the bottom we have all of it. Then on the right-hand side, we have manga, Funko Pops, more of the same. All right, let's get a close-up of each shelf now. Okay, so on this top shelf in the front row, we have Inuyashiki volumes 1 through 9. Have not read the actual manga, but I watched the first and only season of the anime, and I loved it. We have the first 3 volumes of My Dress Up Darling, 1, 2, and 3. I have read those. We have volumes 1 through 4 of Raw Hero. Absolutely loved that series. Raunchy as hell, but you know what? I am a connoisseur of smut, so you gotta love it. Next up, I have Buddha volumes 1 through 8 complete. Have not touched it, but thankfully I have read Remina and Smashed on the right. All right, let's go ahead and move some stuff and take a look at the back row. So behind that front row, I have volumes 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of 20th Century Boys, and volume 1 of 21st Century Boys. As you can tell, I am missing volume 2, so I cannot start this series, and that's why it's on the back shelf. I also have volumes 1 and 2 of the omnibus editions of Message to Adolf. I have not gotten into Osamu Tezuka yet, but since I now have Buddha and Message to Adolf, I do intend to read that either March or April. Moving on, I have Devilman volume 1 and 2, again of the omnibus editions. I have not read these either. Pretty much, if I don't mention that I've read it, just assume that I haven't. And then finally, on the right, I have 2 comic books, Doomsday Clock Part 1 and Part 2, out of order, of course, because I didn't rehearse this before moving all these Funko Pops and manga, but you know, we power through. All right, let's go to the next shelf. From left to right, we have The Way of the House Husband, volumes 1 through 5. Have not read that series just yet. I just received volume 3 in the mail yesterday, so this might actually be one of the series that I blitz through in February. After that, I have Beastars 1 through 12. Up to date with my orders. I know not up to date with the series in terms of the physical volume releases, but I was missing volumes 5, 6, and 7, which also came in yesterday, so I intend to read this series probably also in February. Next up, I have A Bride's Tale, volumes 1 through 12, up to date with volume 13 coming out, I believe, in March. Editor Twitchy, you can confirm or deny that. And then on the very end cap there, I have H.P. Lovecraft's The Hound and Other Stories. I did read that, and that actually might be the least favorite piece of manga that I currently own that I've read in my whole collection. It just wasn't doing it for me. It was overpriced. It was like 20 bucks or something like that. Not a fan. And then on the end, I have H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountain of Madness, volumes 1 and 2. The reason why I haven't read those is because of my poor experience with The Hound and Other Stories. Let's move this front row and take a look at the back. So, on the left, I have volumes 2, 3, 7, and 8 of Monster in the Perfect Editions. Of course, I do have the rest of them on pre-order, but they haven't arrived yet. And unfortunately, if you can tell a little bit on the left, I'll zoom in again, Editor Twitchy, handle this. There's a miscoloration between volumes 2 and the rest of the series. Unfortunate, but I think it's because volume 2 is a reprint, and I'm just glad to have it. Don't like the way it looks, but I'm glad to have it. Next up, I have volumes 1 through 12 complete of Vinland Saga, or at least up to date. I've watched the anime, and I only received the rest of the volumes yesterday. You noticing a pattern? I only received the rest of the volumes yesterday, and I think I will wait until I hear a studio announcement for season 2 before I decide whether or not to read this. So that's why it's in the back. All right, let's get on to the bottom shelf, since the next shelf is purely Funko Pops. In the front row, I have Spoof on Titan, volumes 1 and 2, followed by Attack on Titan Junior High, omnibuses 1 through 5. I have not read these. I purchased them shortly thereafter during the summer of last year to try to get myself back into the swing of things for Attack on Titan, since again, I was not a big fan of the ending. But that's not the video. So anyway, I purchased those, have not read them yet, but now that Mappa's doing its thing with season 4 part 2 of Attack on Titan, I'm definitely interested in getting back into those. Next up, I have Neon Genesis Evangelion volumes 1 through 5 in the omnibus, and then right there in between the Invincible compendiums on the right and the Neon Genesis Evangelion volumes, I have The God's Lie. Now this is the only volume that I've read from this entire shelf, but it was so good, so good. There's a twist in the middle that I didn't see coming. I was kind of almost on the same type of train that I was with H.P. Lovecraft's The Hound and Other Stories, but then that twist came in, and then it was just a roller coaster ride until the end of the volume. It is only a one shot, so it's a quick read. plus it has a matte finish, so it's excellent feeling in your hand. And I'm not going to move the volumes on this shelf just because behind it we only have, can you see it? Box set 2 of Bleach and Tokyo Ghoul Re in the box set. Unfortunately, I did miss out on the sale for Tokyo Ghoul box set, so I've been waiting months to get back into that. A few years ago, I did read Tokyo Ghoul online via the Viz app, the Shonen Jump app, but I have not gotten into Re. I also am in the minority to where I enjoy season 2 of Tokyo Ghoul. I know it's not for everyone, but I personally loved it because of the OSTs. Banging. All right, on to the very last shelf of this bookcase, and then we'll go to the next one. Okay, so the only thing that I have on this shelf that is manga is the Akira box set. I got this one relatively cheap, but I'm gonna be honest with you, this is one of the volumes that I had FOMO on. I didn't want to miss out on it because I was just getting into manga collecting in 2021 heavily, as opposed to previous years, so I decided to pick it up even if it was slightly above where I wanted to purchase it at that 60% off retail price, or excuse me, 40% off, so that it would be 60%. I do have the movie. Unfortunately, I think that I will start with the movie before I get into the manga. Let me know if that is not the correct decision, or if you guys would recommend that I do it the opposite way, in which I start the manga first, finish it, and then watch the movie. All right, next bookcase. First up, we have volumes 1 through 10 of Welcome to the Ballroom. Phenomenal anime, super underrated. If you hadn't had a chance to watch the anime, I would recommend that you do that first. I have not picked up the manga just yet. I've been holding it off for when maybe a season 2 gets released. I'm not going to hold my breath because it was on hiatus for such a long time that I doubt that a season 2 would even have enough content to cover, given that I think season 1 was 24 episodes. Shout out to my boy Shermaniac for actually watching that on my recommendation, and anyone else who does from this video. I do have volumes 1 through 5 of Dr. Stone. Again, I watched the anime, have not read the manga just yet. I'm waiting for another Right Stuff birthday sale, hopefully this upcoming June, in order to purchase the rest of them in a bundle set. Next to that, I have volumes 1 through 5 of My Hero Academia Smash. I have read all of them, and there is one particular joke or like reference in here that is a foreshadowing for a certain character's injury. If you'd like to know and you don't care about spoilers, let me know. I can DM you on Twitter at MrTwitchy94. Follow me on there, you know, support your boy. And then on the right, I have compendiums 1, 2, and 3 of The Walking Dead, with number 4 upstairs, the special Barnes & Noble edition. Okay, let's go to the next shelf. All right, so this is primarily my Hero Academia shelf. Despite its recent chapter issues, this is still one of my favorite series of all time. So I have volumes 1 through 26. I have 27 and 29 supposed to be arriving today. I do have this one shot from the movie. I got it by going to the movie, and it's printed but also on the Shonen Jump app if you missed out on it. Nothing too special, but a cool collector's piece. I have volumes 2, 4, and 5 of My Hero Academia School Briefs. I did leave a little bit of extra room here simply for the fact that the other 2 volumes that I'm missing, 1 and 3, will be arriving today. And then on the end, I have My Hero Academia Ultra Analysis, the guidebook. Have not had a chance to take a look at that just because it arrived yesterday. And then finally, behind that, I have volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I almost like Vigilantes currently more than My Hero, but we'll have to give Horikoshi a couple of chapters to get back into the swing of things. I feel like ever since he announced that the series was coming to an end within a year, I really haven't been a fan of a lot of the chapters that he's put out, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm also leaving a little room there because I do have volume 10 arriving today. All right, let's get to the next shelf. All right, I'll go from the top down, starting on the left. I have volume 34 of Attack on Titan, the only volume of that series that I currently own, despite the fact that it remains my favorite series of all time, despite the ending. I had to see how the extra pages played out, and I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, I think, but I would love it if there were an anime original ending, thus completing the 3 circle theory that's been circulating online, or the 3 timeline theory. We'll get into that later. But next up, I have the Attack on Titan No Regrets Complete Color Edition featuring Levi's backstory. I have Attack on Titan Anthology. I have not read either of those, even though I have read the Attack on Titan No Regrets Black and White Edition online. I do have volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Blade of the Immortal in the deluxe editions, and then volume 1 or compendium 1 of Color Walk One Piece. I have read that. It was excellent. Like I said, with my reading log, I am anticipating reading volume 2 or compendium 2 soon. Thankfully, volume 3 was announced to be published sometime later this year, I think August. And then finally, one of my favorite comic series of all time is Saga, volumes 1, 2, and 3 in the hardcover editions. It recently came back from a hiatus, and since today is actually my birthday while I'm recording this, I will likely go ahead and try and pick up the floppy of the 57th volume? Oh god, I should know that. I don't. Panic. Next shelf.
Okay, so this is one of my premium shelves, or at least that's how I classify it at the very least. I have a Silent Voice manga box set 1 through 7. Have not read this, but I do own the anime movie, so I will likely watch that first before getting into the manga. Next up, I have volumes 2 through 12, with volume 1 being upstairs of Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin. Look at those spines. Just look at them. Beautiful. Death, destruction, comets, all of it, just beautiful. Oh, sorry, where was I? Uzumaki, the complete edition by Junji Ito, and then Tomie, also the complete edition by Junji Ito. So let's go ahead and move this front shelf so you can take a look at the back shelf. Okay, so volumes 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Blom in the master editions. I did unfortunately have to return volume 1 when it arrived damaged, but thankfully, since I do have an Azuki subscription, I can go ahead and read that online before purchasing another volume to refresh myself, because it's been I want to say about 3 or 4 months since I've read Blom. Enjoyable, but I didn't quite know what was going on. I feel like that's Tsutomu Nihei's style, at least for the very beginning, so we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Next to that, I have Gyo. Oh, and a quick aside, for my collection, how it's organized, mainly insert cat meme. If it fits, it sits. So if it fits on the shelf a certain way, and I don't hate the aesthetic, that's how I'll organize it. And then finally, on the right, I have box set 1 of One Piece, volumes 1 through 23. I was fortunate enough to buy this right during the beginning of the pandemic, so it wasn't scalper prices on it. I'm so glad that I did. I watched like 500 episodes of the One Piece anime last year, and I do intend on doing a Wano-only reaction series coming relatively soon. So I decided to buy the manga box sets beforehand just to have them to look at afterwards once I get completely caught up, and I have to wait week to bi-weekly for the new chapters from Oda. All right, on to the last shelf for this bookshelf, and then we just have one more section on another bookshelf, and then that's it. On this bottom shelf, I have box set 2 of One Piece, volumes 24 to 46, and the special Italian version box set of Gon, the only wordless manga that I own. As I'm sure those of you in the know may already be aware, the Gon box set is damaged, and this is actually a replacement copy for an even more damaged one that I have, but I think I might just do that as a giveaway once I reach either 100 or 1,000 subscribers, just to share the love. Not everyone really cares about the quality or the condition of manga, so long as they get to read it and own it. Plus, I feel like it would be a pretty cool incentive for those of you who have stuck with me over this year-long hiatus. All right, let's get to the back shelf of this one. First off, I apologize for the poor lighting, but this is on the bottom shelf all the way in the back, so it doesn't see much light anyways. But I have box set 3 of One Piece, volumes 47 to 70, and the Drifting Classroom, volume 1, 2, and 3. So let me go ahead and show you that. Again, if it fits, it sits, and that was the only place that I could store these volumes for the time being, since I have read all 3 volumes of Drifting Classroom. A little bit dated in terms of some of the conversation between the boys and the girls. But since it is a period piece, I think it was written in like the 80s, the 70s, I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I'll give it a little bit of slack. Really, this was the first horror manga that I ever read, and I am thankful to have purchased it for the price that I did. Oh, and one more thing before we get on to the last bookshelf is I'm going to be including, if you haven't noticed already, screenshots of the retail price and purchase price. So that way you'll be able to do the math alongside with me if you're crazy enough to do that. All right, let's get on to the very last shelf.
Here is a paneling shot of my very last shelf. As you might be able to tell, most of it is Funko Pops, so this will be probably the shortest of the 5 bookshelves.
Okay, so the only manga that you can see currently in this row of Funko Pops is Jujutsu Kaisen, volumes 0 through 10. I am caught up with all of my pre-orders on Jujutsu Kaisen, but I will be choosing to watch the anime first and then hopping into the manga if season 2 is taking too long. MAPPA's working way too hard. They need to get all the raises, all the accolades, all the everything. But man, I just wish that part 1 of season 4 of Attack on Titan was better than the final product was. I am excited to see what Jujutsu Kaisen got all the budget for, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, let's get to the back shelf. Not too much manga here. The reason being is that most of these series I am just missing too many volumes, or it's not a priority, or I've already read it. So on the very left there, if you can see it, I have Made in Abyss volumes 7 and 8. I have 1 through 9 pre-ordered, but obviously they're not here. I also have the Made in Abyss anthology stories, volumes 1, 2, and 3. I read the first one, I read the second one, and then when I realized that partway through the second one that I was entering territory that I didn't know about, let's put this down and put it off to the side. Next to that, we have a unique manga, to say the least. Manga Diary of a Male Porn Star. I was thinking with a head on this one, and no, it was not the top one. Pause. But with that being said, this wasn't quite what I thought it would be. It's almost, the best way that I can describe it is it's similar to Pun Pun in that this guy is supposed to be like a frog. That's how he's depicted in all of the chapters thus far. But there's no depth to his character. He's literally just a guy that is in the porn industry, but not really too much to say other than that. I did pre-order volume 2, but if by volume 3 it's not picking up with the storyline, I think this might be one of the series that I end up dropping and selling. I do have volumes 1 through 5 of Spy Family. I'm reading this currently on the Shonen Jump app. Shout out to my boy Shermaniac for putting me onto this series. Absolutely love it every other week that it's released. Chainsaw Man, volumes 1 through 5. I'm probably gonna stick to the anime for this one, so long as MAPPA doesn't explode by then. And then finally, I have volumes 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of Machi Maho. I'm really excited to read this series based on Base Senpai's recommendation. He always touts this series in his manga videos, but I do not have the volumes. I have 3 and 8 that are supposed to be arriving today, have not showed up just yet. Hopefully it'll be here by the end of the video, but I have not received volume 1 yet, so I can't get started. Okay, on to the next shelf. Not too much manga on this shelf. I have the deluxe editions of Berserk 1 through 9. You can't see it because 9 is all the way back behind that trio of Hellsing deluxe editions. Now, I was fortunate enough, again, to pick these all up before Kentaro Miura passed away, and I will definitely be doing a read-through of this series. It's not a priority at the moment, just because of the fact that these deluxe editions only come out like once every 5 or 6 months. So if I get to the point to where I want to read the rest of the series and it's not out yet, I just know that it's not going to be the same experience reading them in either the single volumes or online as opposed to these beautiful deluxe editions. So that's why I'm holding off, and that's why these are kind of off to the side here. Oh, and one more note. I did count these as 3 volumes each. That is the only time in my manga collection that I did that. Now these are $50 a book, so I
I feel like this, as the sole exception to counting an omnibus as a single volume, is perfectly fine. Box me in the comments if you disagree. All right, moving on to the very last shelf, and then I'll go back to my recording position. Okay, so hiding here, I have Battle Angel Alita, the complete box set. I believe it's volumes 1 through 5 with the special edition, or 1 through 6. It's one of the two. And then I have Before Watchmen, Final Crisis Omnibus, and Sin City in the Big Damn edition. If that's not a big damn way to end the manga collection video, I don't know what is. So bear with me for just a moment as I go back upstairs and finish off the video.
Okay, that package finally came in a little bit later than I would have hoped or expected. So I actually just got done watching the first 2 episodes of Wano, and we'll be posting that hopefully shortly after this video. But here are everything included in the package I just received. So at the top, Ajin Volume 17, the last volume, I Am a Hero Omnibus 5, Machi Maho Volumes 3 and 8, My Hero Academia School Briefs 1 and 3, My Hero Academia Vigilantes Volume 10, and then finally Volumes 27 and 29 of the mainline series. Now, one thing I do want to point out, I don't know if any of you can see this with my camera, but does that look like yellowed to you on the left-hand side? It's been a while since I've looked at the volumes for My Hero, but that looks like someone left it on a dirty surface to me. All right, so after I edit this into the video, let's go back to the final portion of it.
All right, so the grand total of how many volumes that I have currently in my collection, once I retroactively edit in my haul today, so long as there's no issues with it, should be 502 volumes of manga. Now that's a pretty momentous occasion for any manga collector, I think. So 100, 500, 1,000, and you keep going. But I think I'm going to try, like I said earlier, I'm going to try to tone down how much manga I buy in the future. And at the end of the year, I want to be at least 50% read through all of my physical volumes of manga. Now, with me starting up Jujutsu Kaisen, Hunter x Hunter, Haikyuu, and One Piece in the anime, I know that that's going to cut into that a little bit, but hopefully I can pace myself now that I'm taking better care of myself to be in a better mental state and physical state in order to do that. So, with that being said, I want to thank you if you watched this far. My name is Mr. Twitchy. See you later. Bye.